Hey guys, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's 9 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I was just out for a walk, a hike. I did about 4 miles and I practically ran back here because the more I think, it was one of those days when I needed to talk about this. I'm going to talk about, I believe his name is D.Williams. He's one of the witnesses. I believe he's a martial arts instructor. I think he was. I don't know if he also had EMT training. I know the woman that testified had EMT training. I'm going to get to that in a second. I really want to talk about an interaction between him and the prosecutor that really just made me livid. I think there's more than two kinds of people out there. There's people like me, like a lot of other people, probably on the left. We look at this person, what happened to George Floyd, and just because of his color doesn't make a difference. When I saw what happened, it scares me. It makes me angry because it makes no difference that we're two different colors. When I see it happening to him, I believe it could happen to me. I mean, I could picture myself being there and speaking up and getting angry and possibly the same exact thing happening to me. But I think there's a lot of other people out there that just think, well, there's more of them in jail. They this and they that, and he deserved it. And I don't even like saying that stuff. Okay, let me just get into it. I haven't talked about this much because of a video I did 2 weeks ago. George Floyd, I Know What I Saw, it's called. And the reason is because that sums up my feelings perfectly. I know what I saw. 9 minutes. I saw the look on Derek Chauvin's face. I saw a handcuffed man on his stomach. 9.5 minutes. Just anybody that disagrees with me, tell me what kind of harm. How was he still a threat? How was George Floyd still a threat? Try to fill me in on how, if Derek Chauvin stood up, how could George Floyd have done anything? There's arguments about this or that in his blood system or his heart problems, but they could talk about that all day. But I still saw what I saw. I saw that policeman applying that pressure for 9.5 minutes for no other reason than a cruel intention to hurt or worse George Floyd. There's so much I want to say now that I'm thinking about this more and more. So during the trial, it sounded like the prosecutors were, let me just get right into it. D.Williams, and the prosecutors asking him questions. And he asked him if he called the police. Like, it almost sounded like the prosecutor was putting D.Williams on trial for back talking his betters. That's what it sounded like to me. That's what it sounded like. How dare you back talk your betters? So he says, he basically gets D.Williams, the witness, to admit that he called the police. If you saw four men in the road and one of them kneeling on another man's neck and doing this happening, wouldn't you call police? What would you call that? Assault? Murder? So how does it change when it's a group of policemen? Are they above the law? All right, so they go on. This prosecutor, this is what really got me. The prosecutor goes on, and the prosecutor says, you called him a bum. And D.Williams agrees. And he says, and the prosecutor says, you called him a bum 13 times. So D.Williams was did you count it 13 times? Well, then I said it 13 times. He said, then the prosecutor, you called him an effing bum. Now, help me out here. Who cares? What does that have to do? To me, it sounds like all of a sudden D.Williams is now on trial for how dare he call this policeman a bum 13 times, bad mouthing his betters. How dare he? That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's putting D.Williams on trial. I think they try to spin it. The prosecutor goes on to say something about being angry, because he's trying to make it look like D.Williams was being aggressive, and therefore Chauvin was worried that he was going to be attacked. Okay, if that's the case, if you have 4 policemen and you're surrounded by a group and you're going to be attacked, wouldn't it be more advantageous to have all 4 policemen standing, facing away towards the crowd, each one being able to look, defend himself, and defend George Floyd on the ground? With Chauvin kneeling down, he can't defend himself if the group were to attack. You see what I'm saying here? It doesn't even make any sense from a protection point of view. If they were going to be jumped by the group around them, for him to still kneel on George Floyd's neck, it would have been more. It would have provided much more protection for the 4 officers if all 4 of them were standing. Why? Because George Floyd was laying on his stomach, handcuffed behind his back. Tell me, anybody out there, you disagree with me? If Derek Chauvin stood up, what would George Floyd have done? Would he have done some magic backflip and John landed on his feet like a karate move you see in the movies? Then all of a sudden he would have jumped over his handcuffed hands, and put him in front of him, and then done some wicked karate moves and taken out all 4 officers? Is that what would have happened? At worst, he might have attempted to roll over onto his back, which just would have left him more susceptible to their blows or whatever. There was no possible way that George Floyd was of any danger to anyone at that point. 9.5 minutes. Not only that, but you see the look on Chauvin's face. You see him applying more pressure. You see the cops sending away the lady, the paramedic, the EMT that wanted to help, to administer aid to George Floyd. If you were really a Minneapolis firefighter, you'd know better than to interfere. Since when was administering aid to a helpless man complaining of being able not to breathe? Since when was that interfering? Oh man, it makes me so angry. I think that's why I haven't made this video. I don't see any way, in any way, shape, or form, how this man is not guilty. 9.5 minutes. And like I said, whatever was in Floyd's system or his heart or whatever doesn't change the facts of what we all saw right in front of us with our own eyes. The real reason I think Chauvin did this, I think he was angry. He was angry with dealing with African American people. Maybe George Floyd did fuss a bit when they tried to put him in handcuffs, and he was teaching him a lesson. He was angry, got his adrenaline up. I've had it with these African American people. Although I'm sure he didn't say it that way. I think that's the bottom line. Let's admit that that's the bottom line. He was trying to teach George Floyd a lesson. And all the people out there that think that, well, he could breathe because he could talk, or that George Floyd was somehow still dangerous. Just admit what you are. All right. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Wednesday.